Daniel Cross had walked into different types of diners in his life, but this one was different, with the warm wave of coffee, cinnamon, and frying bacon wrapped around him like an old blanket. The door creaked as he stepped inside, rain still dripping from his coat, and there she was, apron tied, hair swept back in a messy bun, the soft glow from the overhead lights kissing her deep brown skin. She wasn't just pretty. She had that quiet, magnetic pull, like a song you've ever heard before but instantly want to play on repeat. Daniel couldn't take his eyes off her. She walked over, notepad in hand. "Coffee?" she asked softly. Daniel still and grossly looking at her. Then whispers, "Sure. And whatever you recommend for breakfast." "Leah," raising a brow, "you trust me that much?" With a grin, Daniel responded, "I built $1 billion company trusting my instincts." "Oh, good for you. But this is just eggs and toast." She laughed at his joke, didn't ask what company he owned, just poured the coffee and walked away. For Daniel, a man used to people lean in when they heard his name, it was oddly refreshing. Now, before we dive into this awesome story, if you're new here, welcome to Tracelight Stories, where every tale hides a twist you'll never see coming. And if you've been with us a while, you know the drill, and buckle up, like this video, and make sure to hit subscribe button so you get notified when we drop a new video for your pleasure. And when this ends, check out our other stories. Daniel was captivated and had no idea this waitress would change his life. But here's the thing. The truth about her would turn his entire world upside down. Daniel felt something different with Leah after their first encounter. Leah, who was also looking for true love and affection, disguised herself as a waiter in a diner. Her grandmother, who also worked in the same diner, and taught Leah the value of work, humility, and seeing people for who they are, not their bank account. Daniel had his curiosity about Leah. For the first time, Daniel met a lady who saw him and not his wealth. He was also surprised Leah wouldn't recognize him, and that kept him coming back. Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays. He tried to convince himself it was the pie, apple, flaky crust, cinnamon coffee. But the truth, it was her. Still, there were moments that things didn't add up. Daniel observed a few odd times with her, like the time he saw a sleek Blacktown car idling down the street. Leah finished her shift, slipped off her apron, and stepped inside without a word. She owned a good car to herself. Or the time he caught a glimpse of the watch on her wrist, a rare piece worth more than the diner's monthly rent. "Daniel, that's a nice watch." Leah, shrugging, said, "It's just a gift." "From who?" "Someone who knows I'm always late." Then she walked off, leaving him with more questions than answers. And maybe that's why, until it was too late, he didn't notice how close he was getting. Because in just a few weeks, Daniel Cross was about to walk into a glittering ballroom and find out the truth about the woman who'd been serving him burnt toast and black coffee. Daniel built $1 billion company, was rich and had influence. Women threw themselves at him because he was wealthy and connected. But Leah was different. At the gala ballroom, full of powerful people from the tech world to the oil and gas industry, the entertainment industry, the gala smelled of roses and expensive perfume, the chandeliers scattering light across crystal glasses and silk gowns. Daniel arrived in his sleek SUV looking dashing, walked past the security and ushers into the building, met with a few friends, and exchanged compliments. It was a beautiful scene. Daniel took the stage, adjusted his cufflinks, ready to deliver his pitch to a room full of power. All eyes were on him. Then he saw her. Leah, not in an apron, not in sneakers, but in a deep emerald gown that hugged her figure, her hair coiled into a perfect updo, diamonds dancing at her ears. And she wasn't alone. A tall man with silver hair, wearing the kind of confidence that can't be bought, had his arm around her. Daniel's breath caught. He knew that face. Everyone in business did. Richard Beaumont, founder of Beaumont Global. $38 billion in the bank and enough influence to make or break empires. Daniel was overwhelmed at the sight of her in the building and could barely keep his cool. "Leah," he muttered to himself in disbelief, did a speech and hurried off the stage. Next up to give a speech was Richard Beaumont, The announcer's voice filled the hall. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Beaumont, accompanied by his daughter, Leah Beaumont." Daughter? The word crashed through Daniel's mind like a wave. The billionaire's daughter. The woman he thought he was saving from a small-town life didn't need saving from anyone. After the speeches, Daniel walked up to Leah. "How are you? You look beautiful in that dress." Complimenting Leah. "Thank you, Dan." Leah responded with a compliment. "You look amazing yourself." Both laughed, but Daniel seeks answers. Then Richard came straight towards him. Leah's eyes met Daniel's for a heartbeat, soft, but warning. Richard stopped inches away. His voice was low, his gaze like steel. "If you're after her money, you'll regret it. If you're after her heart," he leaned closer, "you'd better be ready for the storm that follows." Daniel didn't know which scared him more, the storm Richard meant, or the one already brewing in Leah's eyes. The gala's music hummed softly, violins weaving through the chatter of the city's most powerful people. But for Daniel Cross, the room had gone silent. Richard Beaumont's warning still hung in the air like a storm cloud. Leah wasn't just a waitress with a stubborn streak. She was a Beaumont, the billionaire's daughter. And suddenly, every casual coffee, every quiet smirk, every night she disappeared had a different meaning. Daniel had built empires, survived corporate betrayals, outmaneuvered the ruthless. But tonight, he wasn't sure if he was the predator or the prey. Richard's eyes didn't leave him. "Walk with me," he said. It wasn't a request. They moved towards the balcony, the city glittering below. Richard asked in a calm voice, "You've been spending time at the diner on 14th. "Daniel, I like the coffee." Richard smirks. "No one likes that coffee." He leaned on the railing, the cool night wind ruffling his silver hair. "I've got to tell you something, Dan. Leah works there because she chooses to. She doesn't need your money. She doesn't need anyone's approval. What she needs is someone strong enough to handle the chaos that comes with her life." Daniel, chaos. He was confused. "Richard, you'll see. If you last." Before Daniel could reply, Richard clapped a hand on his shoulder and walked away, leaving him alone under the city lights. And Daniel thought back to the black car at the diner, the expensive wristwatch, the days she vanished, pieces of a puzzle he hadn't even known he was building. Now it was complete, and it terrified him. The confrontation with Leah finally exploded. Daniel finally had a chance to ask questions. Later, by the champagne table, Leah found him. Her emerald gown shimmered as she stepped closer. "Leah, so now you know." "Daniel, why didn't you tell me?" "Leah, because the second people find out my last name, they change. They start performing." "You think I'm performing now?" Daniel relied. "I think you're deciding if you want to run." Her eyes softened. "Leah, that diner is the only place where no one cares who I am, where I can just exist. You walked in, and I thought, here's another rich guy trying to be interesting. But you kept coming back, and I wanted to believe maybe you were different." She told him about her mother, a woman who grew up poor, who taught Leah the value of work, humility, and seeing people for who they are, not their bank account. Her mother had worked in that same diner when she was young. I took the job to remember her, to remember that life isn't just galas and boardrooms, and maybe to see who'd bother knowing me without knowing all this. Daniel felt a twist in his chest. She wasn't hiding because she was ashamed. She was hiding because she wanted something real. She wanted to feel love and affection, not because of her surname, but of who she really is. But before he could respond, a voice cut through the crowd. Daniel Cross, a tall man in a tailored gray suit, approached. His smile was polite, but his eyes weren't. "We need to talk. Privately." Leah's expression shifted instantly. Gone was the softness. In its place, a look Daniel hadn't seen before. Fear. "Leah, Daniel, don't go with him." The man's hand landed on Daniel's arm. "It's about Beaumont Global, and it's urgent." Daniel looked between Leah and the stranger. "Leah, please, trust me on this. If you don't come now, you'll regret it." And in that moment, Daniel realized whatever storm Richard had warned him about had just arrived, and it wasn't going to wait for him to be ready. The gala's golden glow felt a mile away now. The stranger in the gray suit led Daniel down a marble hallway lined with oil paintings, their painted eyes following him like silent witnesses. The laughter of the ballroom faded until it was just the echo of their footsteps. Daniel's instincts, honed from years of boardroom battles, were screaming. This wasn't a casual conversation, and when the man finally turned, his voice was low and precise. "Mr. Cross, you've stepped into something you don't understand. Leah Beaumont is in danger, and so are you." "Daniel, who are you?" "Think of me as the friend of the family, one who knows when the house is about to catch fire," the man replied. He handed Daniel a thin envelope. Inside, a single photograph. Leah, stepping out of the diner, with a man Daniel didn't recognize. Sharp jawline, cold eyes, hand on her arm. Man, that was taken yesterday. The man with her? Julius Kane. He's been trying to buy out Beaumont Global for years. He doesn't take no for an answer. "Daniel, why show me this?" "Because you're close to him," the man said. "That points to you as leverage." Daniel's mind spun back to Richard's words, ready for the storm that follows. This wasn't about romance anymore. It wasn't even about family pride. It was about survival. Leah's eyes found him instantly. Back in the ballroom, she pulled him into a quiet corner, her voice tight. "What did he say to you?" "Enough to know you're in trouble." And Daniel asked her, "Who's Julius?" Leah's gaze hardened, then dropped to the floor. "An old mistake. He's dangerous. And if he knows you matter to me, then there is trouble," she said quietly. "Do I ever matter you?" Leah answered hurriedly, "More than you should." Her hand brushed his, just for a second. It was warm and real and trembling. It hit Daniel then. This wasn't just a wealthy girl with secrets. She was standing in the eye of a hurricane she'd been hiding from the world, holding herself together with the calm of someone who's been through too many storms. He'd seen hostile takeovers, market crashes, tech rivalries that could ruin fortunes overnight. But this was a chess game where the pieces were people and the stakes were lives. Just as he was about to press her for answers, the lights in the ballroom flickered, once, twice, and then went out completely. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted. Glass shattered somewhere in the dark. And then a single spotlight snapped on, aimed at the center of the room. Julius Kane stood there. Tall, immaculate, smile like a blade. "Richard Beaumont," his voice rang out. "I think it's time we discuss terms." Daniel felt Leah's grip on his arm tighten, and she said, "Daniel, whatever happens next, stay out of it." But then Julius' eyes scanned the room and stopped directly on Daniel, and said with a slow smile, "Maybe we start with your new friend." Daniel realized just like that, he wasn't just caught in the storm. He was about to become the lightning rod. The spotlight burned down on Julius Kane like he owned the room. Every guest was frozen. Waiters clutching silver trays mid-step, whispered gasps cutting the air. Daniel Cross stood in the shadows, Leah's hand gripping his arm like a lifeline. And then Julius's words landed like a dart. "Maybe we start with your new friend." At that moment, Daniel knew there would be no quiet exit tonight. "Julius, you must be Daniel Cross," he asked with a calm voice. "The self-made man, the media darling. I've read about you." Daniel, eyes locked in with Julius. "Then you know I'm not for sale." Julius, smiling thinly, "Everything's for sale, especially loyalty." "Richard, this is not the time or the place." Julius whispered, "Oh, I think it's perfect. Your daughter's made a questionable choice in company. Don't you think the shareholders deserve to know who's influencing her?" "You leave him out of this." Julius, eyes flicking to her, protective. "Are we? How sweet. But the game's bigger than either of you." Daniel stepped forward, his voice low, but carrying. "You've spent years trying to bully this family into selling, and that's not going to happen, and not under my watch. You're not getting Beaumont Global, and you're not using Leah to get to her father. If you want me, that's fine. but you're going to hear me out first." Julius laughed, but it wasn't a warm sound. "You think you can play in this league, Cross? You don't even know the rules." Daniel with a strong, commanding voice. "Maybe not, but I know this. If you come after her, you'll have to go through me, and I don't lose fights I care about." Leah's eyes were locked on Daniel's, and in them, he saw something he hadn't been sure of until now: trust. Not the polite trust people gave him for his bank account. The real kind. The kind that's earned. Security moved in. 2 men in dark suits stepping between Julian and the Beaumonts. Richard's voice cut through the room. "Escort him out, and make sure he understands. This family doesn't negotiate with vultures." As Julius was led away, his eyes promised the fight wasn't over. But for tonight, the battle was won. Leah turned to Daniel. "You didn't have to do that." Looking into his eyes. "I did. I'm not here for your money. I'm here for you." She smiled, but this time it was real. It all paid off in the end. "Maybe you're exactly what I've been looking for." In the middle of a ballroom glittering with wealth and power, the millionaire and the billionaire's daughter found something neither of them had expected, and that is trust. Not the kind printed in glossy magazines or whispered in boardrooms, but the kind forged when 2 people see each other for exactly who they are and stand for each other. The storm Richard warned about wasn't gone completely, but for now, and in a world where everything has a price, that kind of loyalty was priceless. This is Tracelight Stories. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you, and see you in the next video.